For the players.
I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Max Cooper.
And this is For the Players, the pop culturist PlayStation podcast for 40 years of playing PlayStation and 10 plus years in those games media combined. I want to thank you for joining us in this PlayStation conversation.
This PlayStation conversation happens at 8 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. Now, thank you for not participating in that, the rest of Australia. On a Monday morning on those Spotify's and
Podcast services.
Pardon?
And
Apple
podcast
and Apple Podcasts, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And 9 a.m. at the aforementioned Australian Daylight Savings Time on those YouTubes for the video people. But if you would like to take part in future conversations with us, hopefully at a decent time frame, come and check out our socials. Facebook, Discord, Instagram, and Twitter. All of those links can be found in the description below.
Can't have told the extra hour of the less sleep fucked us both up, feels. But if you want to join us as the conversation happens over twitch.tv/thepopculturist, where you can watch us record this show live, where you can jump in the chat and become part of the show. If you want to support the show, you can. Tell your friends, tell your family about this PlayStation pod. If you are listening on podcast services, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a written review. If you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment below. I endeavor to answer every single comment. If you want to support us financially, you can at patreon.com/thepopculturist, as well as our merchandise store, popculturist.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. Max, this time next week, we would have been tired. We are tired now. But
yeah,
this time next week.
Hopefully this time next week, your boy's going to be in better sleep.
Yeah, I hope to be in bed because when it's PAX is what I'm getting at. It's PAX, right? Next weekend, this coming weekend, PAX. It's exciting. We'll be recording the episode of For the Players live on the floor at the Pioneer booth as I pull up my phone to find out exactly what time I agreed to because I have forgotten. We'll be recording live on Sunday, 4 p.m. Oh, we're like the last ones. Hell yeah. So like I requested that we book it on the Sunday so that we can sort of touch upon everything we've done in the weekend. So we've gone kissed hands, we've shaken the babies, we've schmoozed, we played everything that we can. We've done all the interviews, and then we can have a look back and look back at the week. So as Noah in the chat says, we will be tired as opposed to every other Sunday. Yeah, we're always fucked. I don't know why the hell we record at 8 o'clock on a Sunday night, by the way. But yeah, so we're the final recording at the...
Someone decided to start doing wrestling shows on a Saturday night.
Yep, this guy. Yeah. So we'll be the last at the Pioneer booth. So big thank you to Fid McCawsome from GGWP. Go check them out for hooking that up. And earlier in the day, I'll be recording a special one-off episode of The Young and the Wrestlers after like a year away. I
hear it's going to be a big honker of an episode too.
Yeah, so after being a year off of not doing any shows, well, we've got a lot's happened in the last year of wrestling. So we're going to talk about that with a friend of the show, Mad Dog, who goes and runs TCW, the Twitch Championship Wrestling promotion that Max and I are a part of, and we'll also be joined by Fid, who is also a massive wrestling fan. So we're going to be talking about Brawl Out, the Triple H era, what the future holds with like CM Punk, and the direction of all these changes and what we've seen, what we've done, and where what's the state of wrestling at the moment, including the local independent scene, which I now have a much more knowledge and insight on, which will be a tons of fun. And yeah, but I'm really, really excited to spend the weekend in the Melbournes. Yeah, so I'll be there. We'll be there Friday through to Sunday. Yeah, I'm itching. Because as I mentioned last week, as I walk through those doors, and I will likely have an emotional moment. I may even record myself doing it, just because. As I see the end of my hashtag Pretty for PAX journey, after 2.5 years, I can finally walk through the doors at Exhibition Centre and achieve the goal that I set out to do, which was to lose as much weight as I could to look... Well, the idea was as unrecognizable as possible. Turns out I look exactly the same, just less person. So that one didn't kind of come through. But yeah, the idea was to go through this door and be a physically different person. I didn't realize that I would also be an emotionally different person as things like, external life things had changed in that time. But we'll see what happens. But I'm looking forward to that. Max, what are you looking forward to the most over this PAX weekend?
Honestly, I don't know. So this will be my first PAX. This will be my second ever PAX. This will be my first PAX as a media personality.
Oh,
very loosely. I think it'll just be because like the first time I went with you and kind of still did a lot of the things that you did and kind of, you know, I shook babies and kissed people and did all that fun stuff. And I met some really awesome people then. I hope to do the same thing this time. Like it'll be awesome to meet, to put faces to a lot of the names that we see on a regular basis. And, you know, I'll try and avoid Padge as often as possible. No, it'll be good. I look forward to doing some of the cool stuff.
Yeah, so the thing that I'm looking forward to the most, that's my favorite thing, then we've done it for the last like 6 years that we've gone, every year that we've gone. We essentially just do a floor tour. The first thing we do, we have someone on camera, someone on mic, and then we just walk through and we just kind of point at everything there is. So if someone is planning on coming to PAX over the weekend, they can look at that video and go, all right, well, I need to go there, I want to go there, because they can see the map itself, but seeing it physically and knowing what's where is integral, especially when there are lines everywhere and there's only so much you can do in your day. Why not plan ahead? So normally the first thing we do is that tour video, and then we would normally send Dylan off to the media room to edit and upload it. But it looks like I might have to do that this time. And normally we get our hands on some and the things that we are most interested in playing first. I'm not really sure what's going to jump out at me at the moment, but because the full list of stuff hasn't gone up. But yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to the most. I love doing that.
And I guess for most of the weekend, trying to stalk Shu.
Yeah, and we'll find Shuhei Yoshida because it was announced this week that Shuhei Yoshida, head of PlayStation Indies, former head of Worldwide Studios, is in Melbourne this week. He'll be giving a keynote presentation on Friday, which I'm exceptionally keen to hear from. And I know Padge is trying to organize something for his dev diary, and I want to try coattail the shit out of that. And I want to.
I think we just need to invest in like one of those Apple AirTags and just tag him,
just like,
so we can work out where he is.
Pop him on the side.
Work out which ramen stop he's gone to at lunchtime after reaching out on Twitter. He's like, "Where's the best place?" So we'll just stalk that place constantly. I'm gonna eat 3 days worth of ramen. I'm gonna eat ramen all weekend, trying to find.
Excited. Oh no! Says they'd throw their panties at me. I can't wait. Yeah, if you're around at the Pioneer booth on the Sunday, we will accept panties. Don't have to be worn. Added bonus if they are. No pressure. But we'll take them.
I also, hopefully, will have a stack of N95.
Oh, I said hopefully, Max, like, hopefully I have a stack of panties because I'm going to come prepared. But yeah, no, I've got a big box of N95s. I'm going to grab like 6 liters of hand sanitizer. I'm just going to drown myself in it and slip my way through PAX. Yeah, it's gonna get gnarly, and like I can't get COVID because I have like a bunch of wrestling shows the weekend after.
Well, it doesn't matter as of next week or the week after. COVID doesn't exist anymore. No more mandatory leave. You just work through it.
Oh man, everyone's gonna die so hard.
That's it. We're done.
Brutal. All right.
We're fully letting it rip.
Well, I'm glad we have a big convention before they make that call.
Oath.
Bold strategy, Cottons. Max, how's your week been?
What have I done this week? I feel like I've done fuck all this week. That's because I think I did. My week started appallingly, I must admit. I think I messaged you on the Tuesday and went, "Hey, I've worked like 30-something hours and slept for 6 in 3 days." So that was fun. Back end of my week was pretty cruisy. Did a lot of paperworky crap on Friday and Saturday, just getting more house shenanigans in order, doing a lot of that crap. Had to upload a ton of documents for some of the government grants that we're going for, and they're like, "Hey, we just need this, and this," and I'm like, "Yeah, no worries. It's only like 70 pages per document. No problem. I'll just start scanning." But it wasn't too bad. Turns out most of it I already had digital copies of, so that was cool with a bit of time. Today, I kind of said to Ali at the start of the weekend, I'm like, "Hey, I'm gonna just here for you guys this weekend since I'm abandoning you next weekend." She's like, "Yeah, fair." So we went out and did some family stuff each day. when we went out for lunch on Saturday, which was nice. Went to a little cafe near where we're building our house. Turns out they do amazing food.
Oh, handy.
And then today we went out to Lara and took a walk through the nature reserve out there and had a look at some animals and
ain't that lovely?
all that fancy stuff. And now my wife's trying to get my kid to bed an hour earlier than usual because daylight saving.
Yeah, she's have no idea what's going on. She's like, I ain't going to sleep.
She was like,
I'm not tired.
super hype.
Yeah.
At 7 o'clock.
Yeah. Not bad.
When we cooked dinner for her and bought dinner out, she's like, it's not dinner time yet. I'm like, it is, mate. She's like, no, it's not.
Yeah. She's very opinionated for like a 3-year-old.
Yeah, so it's going to be a rough couple of days until she get together.
Yeah.
Because Ellie's like, she slept in till like 9:30 today. I'm like, oh no.
Like, that's not a good thing. It sounds good, but it ain't.
What about you? How was your week?
Look, my week was all right. I had what day? So I had Wednesday and Thursday off this week, as I had school holidays. So Millie, my ex-wife, my kid's mum, she had to work still. So she's like, "Hey, can you have James for a couple of days?" I'm like, "Damn right I can." So I took some time off and we hung out for 2 days, which was awesome as always. Had a ton of fun. I made the poor decision to buy him a big box of Elite Trainer box of Pokemon cards. We had tons of fun opening it, but then he's like, "Can we get more cards now?" I'm like, "Don't tempt me, buddy, because this may awaken something in me, and I'm not ready to forego many dollars in the world of trading cards." Because it was fun, like opening it, sorting through it, ticking off the ones we've got, and getting the full set, hunting the cool ones. Yeah, it was bad. It was good fun though. Went to the pool again, which was great because as he's learning how to swim better and better, which is fun. What else did I get up to this week? Friday, I had dinner with someone, same person as last Sunday, might I add. And then I went out last night with that same person again. So I don't know how to read the room, but I don't know if they're into me. I'm just thinking about it.
So that's why you left me on red last night.
Yeah, that's why I left you on red. I was out busy being people. We went out to Piano Bar, which is this local bar here in town. And that place is fucking amazing, by the way. Have you ever been?
Yes.
Why
I go out?
Why? I don't go out. Like, you should. Why the fuck did you never tell me to go to that place? That place is amazing.
That's all right.
Like, that dude who's sitting there playing piano, played it for like 4 straight hours. Didn't take a break.
Almost like that's his job.
Yeah, but like even then, like he's singing, he's playing, like no breaks, no stops. It was legit, and like it has such a different energy to like any bars or clubs or pubs that I've ever been to, and like because it's like everyone goes in there, they leave all their inhibitions at the door. Everyone is like collectively there to like look after each other and have a real good time. So like everyone's just getting fucking rowdy, dancing on tables and shit. So everyone's singing badly, like. And like knowing that, like, during the week, I believe it's also a drag bar. Like it has this very similar energy to some of the bars you see in like Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, right? Because it's got like the big lit stage and it's all pretty, and then like everyone's singing along and having a great time. I'm like, because like when I went in there and sat down, and I'm looking at the space, and I'm like, it's gonna take me a while to get used to this. So as I'm sitting here trying to process everything that's coming into me. Once again, because it's such a different energy. Like I went in expecting like a bar, because it's a piano bar, right? So I was expecting a little dance floor, some booths, all the usual shit, like, just the usual stuff. Get in there and it's not that at all. I'm like, hang on. I don't know how to deal with this. And then bit by bit, and they were playing, there was a lot of ABBA. Adele got jammed a bit, and then slowly as the night progressed, like like my tunes sort of come in. Out come this really nice piano rendition of Teenage Dirtbag. I'm like, yeah, now we're talking. It was a really, really good night. I mean, really, really enjoyed myself, and it was really good. So like I talked about last week, I had a really good weekend and I was all happy and stuff, which is really true. And I've talked about like my previous weeks, and I'm very a big advocate of talking about mental health, especially here on the show, as it's my day job, and to sort of help where I'm at. So I found there were some things that were brought to light to me yesterday that really fucked me up, and I was pretty shit all of yesterday, and today I've been real bad. But it was really nice to sort of go out last night and just, forget about it for a little while, which was really cool. But yeah, no, it's yesterday and today has been really rough. But come in here, you put on the brave face, you mask up, you sit down, you put your Kevin Feige hat on, as I said, and I talk to you lovely people about the things in the PlayStation. And that includes the games that we have been playing this week. Now, Max, I finally did my job right this week, and I got you a code for a game that you wanted. Previously, you're just like, I want this game, and then it doesn't happen. But I did my dues this week. I earned my keep.
That's what, it got to the point where you got sick of me asking. You're just like, fuck it, I'll do it. Jesus. So,
what did I get you?
Shout out to the team over at Bandai Namco Australia for providing me with the code for Valkyrie Elysium, which launched on Friday, I believe. Was it 28th? I think it's Friday. If I know my dates. And it is the latest Square Enix game. And it is a fantastic little action adventure hack and slash, to put it lightly. So you play as one of Odin's Valkyrie, and you are here to purge Midgard of its wayward souls.
Not the same Midgard as Final Fantasy?
No, like Midgard is in Earth, like Odin, Midgard, Earth.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 All right. Yeah.
Norse mythology.
Yep.
Midgard,
Right.
Earth. Cool.
And I'm back. All right. Cool. Yep.
And you're back. Okay. So there is a demo available for this game.
Not playing
I played it a couple of weeks ago, which is why we reached out for a code. So same premise. You essentially, the demo is the first tutorial level and then the first level of the game, which is about 30 to 40 minutes of gameplay. Tutorial covers all your basics. It's like, here's how you attack, here's how you move throughout the world, here are all your abilities that you can do, here are your magical abilities, here are your summons, this is how you combo, here's some of the various enemy types that you will see. So each enemy type essentially has a different moveset, but they also have a different elemental affinity. And then obviously enemies have health bars and stagger bars. The stagger bar will go down when you use an affinity that's an element that's opposite to their affinity. So if they are a fire type, if you use ice, it staggers them and they freeze. So you can, get in there and melee chop them up with ease. So there's fire, lightning, and ice is what I've come across at the moment, but I believe there are more. Your summons also work in the same way. They are referred to as Einherjar, which I'm assuming is the Norwegian word for it. And essentially they come with their own abilities. So you summon them into the combat. You can have multiples in at the same time. And they are essentially just AI-controlled allies. They'll just run around and attack stuff for you. But the cool thing about them is when you summon them, you gain their affinity on your basic attacks. So if you summon the lightning guy, all your basic attacks now deal lightning damage, which means you can stun enemies that are weak to lightning very easily, which is which can be very helpful. To get, so it's essentially a simple mission structure where it's an open world map as your level, and you explore the map. There's waypoints to go through to kind of keep you on track as so you don't get too roundabout. But essentially, it's similar to that of like Devil May Cry. So once you hit a certain area, it'll be like, hey, I'm going to pop up some fog walls, so you can't escape. You have to deal with these enemies before we move on. I'm 4 chapters in at the moment, so I've done the first 4 levels, and there's a few intermission levels in between that. There are side quests which are findable inside the levels as you do them. So they are missable if you don't collect those items that unlock the side quests. There's lots of other collectibles. There's essentially these little plants that give background knowledge to some of the souls in the area and like what they did when they were alive, which is kind of interesting, kind of fills out the lore of the world, which is really cool. And then at the end of the level, you fight your big bad boss guy. And then you, in a similar vein to that of like Devil May Cry or something like that, you get the end game, you get the end level screen where it gives you your score, like based on how much damage you did, how much enemies you killed, how much damage you took, how many items you used, and all that fun stuff. So I'm having an absolute blast with it at the moment. I'm about 4 or 5 hours deep. My understanding is it's about a 20-ish hour game. I believe it has multiple endings, which is cool. But so far, I'm really digging it. That fast-paced action combat is really getting me going. The story is compelling enough to keep me wanting more. It delivered through both in-game, like just story beats as you're playing the levels, as well as like cutscenes throughout the levels themselves, and at the end of missions during the what they refer to as the intermission stage, when you head back to talk to Odin. Basically, after every mission, you're like, "Hey man, this is what I've done." He's like, "Cool, now go do this."
Yeah, dude, says Odin.
But yeah, it's a really it's very fast paced combat, similar to the only. Yeah, I've been making comparisons to Devil May Cry. It's probably not as quickly paced as that, but it's still very, as you know, it's that square is your light attack, triangle.
That real hack and slash sort of approach, yeah.
And you know your combos are a mixture of the two button inputs to do the different combos. And then as you progress through the game, you collect these orbs from enemies, very similar to like the souls from Devil May Cry. You can use those to upgrade your character. So there's 3 trees: there's attack, defense, support. So you can, you know, attack covers like extra combo moves, extra damage, stuff like that. Defense is obviously blocking, evasion, increased defense, and HP. And then support is you can upgrade your magic bar or your soul bar, which covers your summons and your castable magic. You can set it up so if an enemy breaks your shield when you're blocking, you'll automatically summon one of your allies to kind of like help out in the fight. So it's really interesting. You can kind of mold your character how you want to play. And then on top of that, you can upgrade each individual weapon that you gain access to. So at the moment, I've got like 4 different swords, each with a different elemental affinity. And I just unlocked a spear, which allows me to do AoE attacks as opposed to single target fighting, which is kind of helpful when you're kind of getting mobbed by trash enemies.
Very cool. Very
I'm
cool.
really digging it. If anyone's into that kind of hack and slash gameplay similar to that, this is a really easy recommend. I'm having an absolute blast with it at the moment, but I'll be talking about it again for the next couple of weeks because I just have not got,
Oh yeah, seeing as you made the choice to like go hang with your family or whatever, so you've not, because you've got the code on Friday, so you've not really spent as much time with it.
Trying to do that work life balance.
Smart call. Otherwise you'll end up like me, mate. Don't do that.
Really good fun.
Fantastic.
The other thing that I've been playing, which I haven't put as much time into, was Sessions.
Yeah, we received a code from the lovely team at PowerUP PR? Yes, PowerUP, yes. For Sessions, it's essentially like a hard skate sim in the same way that like not more skate than Tony Hawk, but then also harder again in a number of ways.
My brain can't handle it.
So it's actually very similar to that of Skater XL, which came out about 2 years ago, which is it's similar to Skate. It is a more realistic Skate. What's the word I'm looking for? Simulation style game in that the camera's really low towards the back. It's not high like your Tony Hawk. You use your thumbsticks as the way to control your feet. So you've got your left stick controls your left foot, right stick controls your right, and you turn using the paddles, the L2 and R2. So once you sort of get your head around that, you can kind of start seeing what you're going to do. But it's difficult to have that can disconnect when you got to try to do all the multiple things at once. So like Tony Hawk, which everything is on the face button. So X is your oldie, and then you square for your flip tricks, triangle for grind, circle for your grab tricks, and then Skate, which is everything was done by the right stick, and your left was all your movement. This is like that next step up again, and trying to get your brain like. Olling's hard enough, and then you're like, well, let's see if I can get a kick. So it actually feels rewarding when you do even the simplest of tricks, but then also trying to line up like a grind, it's fucking hard.
I also feel that the tutorial doesn't do a good job of onboarding you.
Yeah.
Because when you start, it's like, yeah, we're gonna show you the very basic principles, and I got stuck on the grinding one for like 20 minutes because it's like do a what was it? It was like do a frontside grind where only the front trucks are touching the
Yeah,
rail.
it's like,
I'm
like a nose
no,
grind. Yeah.
no worries. It's like, and then it gives you the description of push R forward and bring L back, and that'll work. I'm like, okay, but when I do that, I'm ollieing, but my back foot's coming down first, not my front foot. So I'm doing a tail grind, not a nose grind. That's
Like a 5-0, yeah.
what you're telling me is wrong on the tutorial. So I'm like, oh, I'll do it the opposite way. And the opposite way was fine because it was a nollie, but the guy couldn't nollie high enough to get on the rail.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do? So I ended up just going this really awkward way where I kind of just did this full big loop and just came up the other way. But yeah, it's real. My brain just can't comprehend that that's the way it works. And then I constantly get mixed up between is my guy goofy or is he not goofy? Because that also flips what the direction of the stick I need to push up.
Yeah, so depending on your stance, obviously, if your body is if you face forward and your chest is facing to your right, that's your regular stance. If you're facing forward and your chest is going to your left, that is the goofy stance. So it changes because it depends on which foot is forward. But then you also got to then allow for the idea of nollies and fakies and all these other little variants that you have, or where you're essentially skating switch, right? And then you've also got to take into account how you push. Like you can push regular or you can push Mongo. Depending on which button you're pressing, so you can kind of tweak it whatever you want. But as you said, like you've got to have that skater brain, I guess, because you were always a rollerblader back in the day. Even though you really enjoyed skate as a game, like that culture wasn't really yours.
I don't know.
Yeah, like for me, that was my shit. So like playing this, everything's just in terms of what I need to do is clicking, and it's coming together really nicely. But then delivering it is that extra step harder. But it is fun trying to wrap my head around it to make it happen. And the only other downside to it is because it's set up like a town, like a city, like it's a lot of street stuff, which is fun because street is the best when it comes to like tricks and stuff because it's all that flatland stuff that's awesome. But it's unlike Skate, which built a city that was really kind of a skate park as a city. This feels more like a standard street. So there's a couple of, so there's just areas of flat and you kind of have to tweak things a little bit to sort of make it work. And, it's adds an extra layer of difficulty just trying to navigate the space and plan your runs accordingly. But I don't know. I'm really enjoying it in that I want to do it more and I want to keep scratching that part of my brain. Because it's hitting a different space as I have to like think about it. But admittedly, I've not played all that many games this week, aside from Session. But we'll have more to talk about Session, possibly next week in the PAX show, if not more than likely the week after as we keep playing. The other thing I have been playing is a game called WeedCraftInc. Now, I talked about it 2 weeks ago, or last week, and I said that we received a review code for the console version. The console version is out now in the US. I don't believe it's on the PlayStation Australian store just yet, but WeedCraftInc is essentially a tycoon game all based around marijuana. So you start with essentially having this little grow house in your basement of your apartment building, and then it's all about growing it and in terms of like down to the chemical composition of the soil, the growth medium, the lighting, all this sort of stuff, and then you connect it to the dealing side. So you got to work out the business management of making sure the clients are happy and you're selling what's wanted while also at a good price. And it's also that it's matching the quality of which you're charging for it, and then you've also got to work with the rival sellers in the space while also trying to dodge all the business side of things. The law side of things, as in the police are doing rounds, and the more you grow in order to do more, the more heat that brings towards you. So how do you manage the heat while also continuing to move the product that you're selling while also growing the product under the bracket? Which is cool. No has confirmed that it is on the Australian PlayStation Store. It is $37.95 Australian dollary dues. So I originally reviewed this game a couple of years ago through on PC, so I had it. It was very easy for me to jump into this game, knowing full well what I had to do, where I wanted to go, and all those sort of all the momentum, the minutia, the mechanics of the game. So the most difficult part playing this from PC to console is that, yeah, it's really built for PC, in that there are menus on menus, and that you kind of have to almost have very similar to Session, You've got to kind of like, hold triggers and face buttons and all this kind of move around the menus in a relatively quick and efficient way. But once you sort of get that hang of it, very similar to another game that I played a number of years ago called Cook Serve Delicious, where it's all about once you get that pattern down and you know what's where, it does become that muscle memory. You start ripping through it. You're growing, you're watering, you're cutting, you're selling, you're doing all the things that you need to make it, and you can do it with quick and relative ease. So it is the same game that I was playing on PC, and I really enjoy it. And I'm really enjoying it here as well, as I now get to sort of sit and recline on my couch while I listen to what is an incredibly good soundtrack, by the way. Like, it's not licensed or anything. It's all just kind of, hip hop inspired. What's it called? Like, not drum, like that lo-fi sort of music, and it's really good. I get a good kick out of it, and that's fun. I enjoy that. Hey, Sproutox, my mate Sprouty is in the Twitch chat. Man, I haven't seen that kid in forever. How are you, my friend? So I've been really enjoying that. That's kind of been the one that I've been like having the most tinker with this week. But the other game that I probably spent the most time with were the 2 days that I had my son, and we played 2 games. One is Shock Horror Max. Shock Horror. Hello Neighbor. But we played a different one. Wasn't Hello Neighbor 1 before. This is Hello Neighbor Hide and Seek. So, unlike the previous ones where you play the neighbor and you break into the neighbor's house and you're trying to solve this mystery and the neighbor's trying to chase you out, it's set around the 2 kids of the neighbor. The Mr. Neighbor. Well, he does have a name, but I forget what it was. So it's essentially built on the premise of creating backstory to the individual and to why he does the actions that he has done in the previous game. And it is kind of this tragic sort of backstory, really, about his family, which kind of ties in. It's a lore that's way deeper than it should be for like really a very simple physics puzzle game. But so you'll play his 2 children, a boy and a girl, and the hide and seek mentality of it is in the same way that the neighbor chases you in the first game. Your brother is chasing the sister, and each level so far is themed. The first one is safari themed, so you're playing in the backyard, and you've got to go find all the stuffed toys that are hidden around. But of course, the things are located, and you've got to get physics puzzles to get to them, etc. The second level, they're playing cops and robbers. So the idea is you've got to break into all these businesses and shops, steal the money, bring it back to the base, and that's how you finish the level. So that the premise of it is you need to collect all the items, and once you do, it brings in dinner time. As in you've got that, kids are playing just before dinner. Once you get everything done, like, hey, let's go have dinner together, and then the cutscene is them sitting having dinner, and then it leads into the more emotionally driven stuff of the game itself. I hate these games, but I can't stop playing them. Because my kid loves them. It's a big selling point for me. He gets a lot of enjoyment out of playing it with me. So we do that, which is really good. It's just one of those things. It's just kind of it hits that part of you where you're like, oh, I've got to get it. Like I can. When you try to hunt all these little trinkets and stuff, and you bring them all back together, it's awesome. The second game that I played with my son is it's called Poppy's Playtime. It's on PC. As my son falls down these weird YouTube rabbit holes of like horror games, so specifically or horror characters. So that's where Hello Neighbor came in, and this is all based around these series of characters called like Huggy Wuggy and Mummy Longlegs, all this weird fucking shit. And it's free on Steam. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll play with him.
That's a good selling point.
Yeah, it's actually kind of fun. Puzzle game, really, and very similar in the physics, but I know it is a bit spooky, it's a bit creepy. James enjoyed it. He was able to, the first time he tried, he couldn't quite get the mouse and keyboard, but I turned down the DPS on the mouse and I gave him a go, and yeah, he was starting to get it. He was starting to understand, the WASD and the mouse. I was like, a little bit of a proud dad moment as it all was coming together. But But yeah, that's pretty much all that I've played this week. I think it has been a relatively quiet gaming week. I did chip off a little Red Dead Redemption 2 at the start of the week, but yeah, especially with having James those 2 days, going out and hanging out with a cool person. Yeah, my time just wasn't in that game space, and then today I just didn't have the head for it, so I haven't picked anything up. But yeah, that ticks all the boxes. Now, let's get into the section we call Inform the Players. We tell you about what happened this week in PlayStation.
Just quickly before we jump ahead, the only other thing that I've been playing, and I think the only person who will actually care here is Park, but I finished the Taken King raid for Destiny 2.
Oh, you fucking nerd.
I have 1 completion, and I got the exotic weapon drop that has like a 2% drop chance. So,
look
I guess I have
at
to
you.
do more, so. Just a humble brag.
Good brag. Yeah, Puck's happy for you. Gives you applaud. Give a bit of clap in the chat.
All right. As you alluded to before, let's move to the section we called Inform the Players. And let's kick things off, as we always do, with some PlayStation-related news. The PlayStation Essential titles have been announced for October. We will be getting Hot Wheels Unleashed, PlayStation 5 and PS4, Injustice 2, PS4, and Super Hot PS4.
Fun fact, Injustice 2 already free on PS Plus as part of the higher tier. Super Hot, dope game, by the way. Brilliant game. Already played it. Already own it. Already finished it. Hot Wheels Unleashed is apparently really good. I haven't played it, but I hear good things. So, a bit of an average month. Nothing too amazing. Pardon me, but I'm sure I'll enjoy Hot Wheels Unleashed, and I'm sure my son will too. So that seems like kind of the fun game for that. Injustice 2 is still one of the prettiest fighting games I've ever seen. Like, it is stunning the way they've captured the DC characters. Like, they have that high level of realism, but mixed with the comic-y nature. So even though they're all armored up and it looks kind of campy because it's superheroes, but it looks really grounded, weirdly enough, and it's great. And like Ninja Turtles are in there, and so is Hellboy and stuff. It's a bunch of IDW stuff. So if it's free, pick up the season pass for nothing. Well, next to nothing. Probably nice and cheap. All right, Max. Something huge.
Should we skip this and go to the next one, since our main talking point is the next story?
And nah, I'm talking Last of Us right now. I'm feeling it right now. This week, after lengthy time, HBO have finally released the trailer for The Last of Us coming, and it was nicely dropped on The Last of Us Day.
Last of Us Day.
So, this is the show that's coming in 2023, starring Pedro Pascal and the other girl from it'll come to me in a second. The other girl from Game of Thrones. She played the little queen, the one that got real stabby. Bella Ramsey. Yeah, so we'd see them. So we're seeing a number of shots of Joel walking around the quarantine zone. We quickly catch glimpses of protagonist Ellie, played by Bella Ramsey, and Tess escaping the outskirts and reaching some of the ruined downtown areas. Clickers make an appearance before shots of Riley and Ellie from Left Behind prequel are shown too. So we see the clicker, the practical makeup, the sound of that. We get to see other characters as well, like Tess and Bill, and so played by Nick Offerman. There's a lot to take in here, and for me, the things that jump out is I alluded to on Twitter that we have different takes on this, so I'm going to let my take out, and then I'll let you jump in because you're totally different. I thought this trailer was brilliant. Just as I expected, it made me cry a little bit because I know where it's going. I know what this story is, and I do have such a big connection to this game and The Last of Us Part 2 that I look forward to what this is going to be, and especially on the idea that they are doing shot for shot in some way, or at least similar enough that it gets it evokes the same energy of the series. Now, whether it be the real fucking the Pedro Pascal is looks like Joel in the closest that he can. He's got the face of a broken man. He's got the flannel shirt. He's got the watch with the bullet holes in it. Pardon me, like, here's all the major beats of what you want what you want Joel to be. Like, he looks sad, he looks miserable, he looks broken. Like, it's exactly what Joel is. And then with that, we see shots of the opening prologue of the game, you know, where Tim and his daughter, and they're running and they're escaping the town. And there are some creative liberties there. Like, we're seeing some of the really cool shots of him carrying her through. We see them driving through that town center. And in the game, it was a petrol station that exploded. But in here, it's a jet, it's a plane breaking into the city. Big explosions. Looks cool. Yeah, we get to see Nick Offerman as Bill pulling a rifle on Joel and Ellie in a pit, which is a shot that I don't remember. So if anything, that makes me think that this might be one of the traps of Bill's location. You know, sort of ways to try to break into his shit. You know, maybe you fall into a trap, and then he looks down and I'm like, oh yeah, it's Joel. Hey, but Joel's going on? Where we see a shot in a tunnel of Tess, Joel, and Ellie, which is straight out of like the first couple hours of the game as you're trying to escape the quarantine zone, and it looks shot for shot beautiful in terms of all the rain, dark, and all these sort of things. And I think we might see a couple of other sprinkle of other characters in there as well. There's a shot of Ellie chained to a chair, which is giving me flashbacks to like that final boss fight in The Last of Us, you know, where she gets taken and kidnapped. So I'm wondering, like, I think this trailer is not just showing the first couple episodes, it's probably showing the shots from all of it, and it's not until we watch it are we seeing all the little bits come up. We see different seasons, which is just like the game itself as they travel throughout the year. I was silently optimistic of what this was going to be, and seeing this trailer, and then of course knowing the involvement of Naughty Dog and especially Neil Druckmann, like what I'm seeing here is essentially the game in a TV show, which isn't entirely a bad thing, but it seems like there's enough creative liberty that they're gonna be able to push into things that the game didn't, or especially if we're seeing like the left behind stuff with Riley and Ellie and the building of their relationship and their friendship. Like, that has me excited because we're going to have past, present, future, all these different times, but not in like a crazy Witcher way. I know I say that, but suddenly I'm very optimistic for what this show will be, and especially when it drops next year. But you disagree.
Kind of, sort of. Okay, so I'll put it out there. It does look brilliant. Like, cinematically, it looks absolutely
it's got that real
stunning.
Gritty tone to it.
They've done really well. What I was hoping for this was a reason to explore more stories in that world.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of didn't want them to like Star Wars it up with the Skywalkers and just make more shit about them. Like, not to say that this is going to be shit, but like, you know what I mean.
Unlike Star Wars, which is now shit.
I was hoping that they were going to use this as a way to expand the universe so we could see other things, because I'm sure they could tell some amazing and incredibly and amazing stories in that world that didn't just happen to Joel and Ellie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, sure, they went on this fantastic adventure, but it's a story that I've already seen and experienced. Now, I get that, you know, this is also another way to bring in new people now that the game's launched on PC and all that stuff. And it's a way for people who don't play games to enjoy this story as well, and I appreciate that. But I was just hoping that it was going to be more, not more of the same, but more.
See, what I think, even though I agree with you, I would contest your hey, give us more of the world, because it's a Joel and Ellie story. The Last of Us is the Joel and Ellie story. It's like, hey, can you give me Bill and Ted, but spend more time talking about this other guy? You know, pardon me, the main focus of that game. It's like, hey, can I get The Witcher, but it's not really focused on Geralt all that much, you know? So, like, I get where you're coming from, but I believe that this trailer specifically, seeing as that it was released on The Last of Us Day, this game was built for people like me and people like you. in that people that know the source material love the source material. And because one of the biggest problems and the fear, and especially with the love and admiration that people have for this game specifically, this is them going, we're faithfully readapting it, dude. It's cool. Like, we're letting you know, like, it's the shots that you love. It's the tone that you know. It's the characters that you care for. But we're just we're changing it just enough. And I think there's with the trailer, it's like, here's a shot you know, little twist, shot you know, new shot, you know what I mean? Like they've tailored it in such a way that I feel it has that ebb and flow that it's specific enough for those that know, but vague enough to pull someone in that would never have seen it before. Now, granted, I say that knowing full well that I look at this and my heart flutters and I get excited because I am the target audience for what this show is. Sorry, I should say, because I love this game. But so I would have to find someone that has never played The Last of Us before, has never known about The Last of Us before, and see what their read on that trailer is, and like whether that seems like something that's engaging to them. Because it is a lot of, it's in a true trailer fashion. It's just a lot of cuts, so it's a lot of like little bits. There's no real major sequence.
It is a teaser trailer.
Yeah.
Like it's not a
Yeah. So as a result, there's no like long piece, cut, long piece. It's cut. So it's giving you that sprinkle of everything. So I don't know. I still think you might get what you're looking for.
I'm sure I'll still enjoy it. I was just like I said, I didn't want, because we've now seen this on PS3, PS4, PS5, PC, and TV. Apparently,
yeah, it's a Skyrim of games.
It's like I said, the story is fantastic, but it's something that I've experienced multiple times now, and I was just hoping instead of more of the same, I wanted just more.
Yeah, and I agree. Yes, as I said, I agree with you. And to me, this is more. And I think with some of the actors that they've got, I look forward to seeing some slight alterations, because like Pedro Pascal is a brilliant actor. We've seen him be awesome, fucking kill it in Game of Thrones, and then do a pretty good job as a campy character in like Wonder Woman as an example. But like he's a good dude. He fucking works, and of course Mando as well. So we know we can work. So I look at him and I go, sick. And like you can see it in his face. Like he's channeling something that isn't him. It's not the Viper. It's not Mando. It's not whatever the fucking character from Wonder Woman was. Like it's something else. And like you can see it in his face. Like Bella Ramsey, I haven't quite nailed it yet on how she's looking. You know what I mean? So like it's difficult. In terms of she's technically older than Ali was in the game. Wait. Yes. No, other way around. Either way, she looks almost too young. But looks too old. Like it's real weird. Where like Ali was older but felt young and naive. Where Bella Ramsey, especially knowing her character from Game of Thrones, which was that fucking sassy little queen that like straight stabbed someone, like film like shit, yeah. But like it's a different energy. But I look forward to seeing it because like she's costumed up almost exactly. Made my little PlayStation fan heart flutter. So I'm excited.
Right, well,
let us know what you think of the Last of Us trailer. Jump in the chat, comments below, hit us on socials and stuff like that. Maybe we can do some little like watch-alongs. Maybe we can do some more of the players next year, and we'll review it episode by episode. That'd be fun. I haven't reviewed TV in forever.
Well, talking about getting PlayStation fans' hearts are fluttering, let's talk about PlayStation Stars. So Sony has posted an extensive overview of its new PlayStation Stars program to the PlayStation blog, covering everything there is to know. The scheme has already launched in Asia, and it is set to hit Europe and Australia on the 13th of October. The service is currently completely free to join. You do not need a PlayStation Plus subscription to sign up. However, an active membership will provide you with some extra bennies. By signing up, which you do through the PlayStation app, you will gain the ability to earn the following rewards. Loyalty points, which can be redeemed for PlayStation Wallet funds and select PlayStation Store products, or digital collectibles, described as, quote, beautifully rendered digital representations of things that PlayStation fans enjoy, including figurines of beloved and iconic characters from games and other forms of entertainment, as well as cherished devices that tap into Sony's historic innovation. End quote. Just to point out again, these are not NFTs. They cannot be traded. Some are rare, but they cannot be traded. There is no blockchain functionality.
I think that's they're essentially like useless digital collectibles, but there's no blockchain, therefore it's not an NFT.
They're NFTs that are worth nothing.
Yeah, literally nothing. Yeah,
it can't be traded.
Yeah.
Anyway, to earn points, you will need to complete certain tasks, such as simply booting up a game or by earning trophies. Quote, one of our first campaigns is called the Hit and Play 1994, where members who correctly launch games that match song-based clues will receive a special collectible. End quote. By simply joining PlayStation Stars, you will immediately earn the Stargazer Telescope collectible. As an added benefit for PlayStation Plus subscribers, it doesn't matter which tier you have, you'll earn bonus points for simply buying games and products off the PlayStation Store. Split across 4 status levels, the more you engage with the program, the more benefits and rewards you will receive. Now, there is some contention at the moment over one of the rewards. It's unsure whether or not this will follow out of the Asian region into ours, but apparently, if you are a tier 4 member, which to get to tier 4, it requires the purchase of 4 games through the PlayStation Network and 128 trophies collected, I believe, you will get priority queue times when you try and talk to PlayStation online.
It's a loyalty program, so it's gross, but it makes sense. But at least it's not a paid loyalty system. So
it kind of is, because you can skip it by purchasing products on the PlayStation Store.
True.
That is 100% pay to win. Or pay to get service, I guess, depending on your outlook. But again, it is unsure whether or not that will be offered across all regions. At the moment, it is only in the Asian region, as it is the only one live.
Yeah.
Are you gonna sign up?
Fuck yes. Fuck yes. Like, one of the greatest things I really like, one I truly loved about Astrobot's Playroom was just the unnecessary little collectibles and shit. Just like seeing all the Astrobots, like one is Kratos and one is like, Desmond from...
I should point out that this currently these collectibles are currently only viewable in the PlayStation app on your mobile phone. They currently do not show up on consoles. They're working on it.
Okay.
So are you a PlayStation app user?
No. Well, I lie. Yes, because I check my wish list on there and I see where things are at. I had to mute it because you and your fucking text chats and in your voice chats, I get notifications all the time. I use it to redeem keys. Like, we would get that's the big question that I'm excited for. Like, will the PopC account just suddenly get like tier 4 because of the codes that we redeem? Like, just redeem?
Probably not, because they're not. I guess they're not counted as purchases,
but they are. They're in your games library and they're in your purchase list. So, like, that's another concern there. I like content creators or media personalities like ourselves. Like, do they have an added advantage because they redeem all these game codes?
I guess it depends on whether or not, because I guess if it's that monetary value of if it has to come out of the wallet versus redeeming a code which gives you a purchase cost of $0, doesn't it?
True, yeah, it does. It may kick to the dollar value, but
technically purchasing something.
What would be really fun though is if there's a way that you can see someone's PlayStation Stars account and level. So, as there has been a lot of commotion in Australian games media as of late around showing your receipts for your gamer cred as a reviewer, like, people that have their trophies hidden, etc., like hiding, like they may not have finished a game. If you join Stars, then suddenly like you said, if trophies are worth points, if game purchases are worth points, suddenly there's another way to check on someone's receipts, I guess. Our shit's always public unless we have to for an NDA, so you can always look at our shit. You can see very clearly that I don't finish all my games.
Yeah, you can see that I have a lot of trophies and a lot of unfinished titles.
Yeah, but also Max plays a lot of the games on the PopC account, so go check that trophies out if you want Max's trophies.
I think I've got more. I think I have more platinums on the PopC account than my own.
Yeah, it's a downside. It's how we ensure that both you and I can play review codes. But yeah, I'm totally in. They have the little Ape Escape trinkets that look fucking hideous, and I want one. very similar to the new PS Plus. It does look. It's starting to feel as if it's just not as planned out as they thought it, as everyone may have led to believe, and it's coming
kind
out
of like the different fucking tiered subscription model that they recently.
It's exactly like the PS Plus.
Like
and
that half baked plan.
Yep. They're like, hey, we have all these cool digital trinkets. Where are they? On your phone, I guess. Are they coming to console? Yeah, one day. Like, come on. It really feels like we will make this because we had to. Like, there was no real major plan. There was no overarching goal.
Did they have to?
I would say they would, because for the longest time, there has been requests for a loyalty-like program, like to connect to your trophy. So say if you get platinums, you get a benefit. I mean, there was a window of time where they would send you cool like avatars and stuff, or maybe a theme. If you had finished if you platinum a game in a window of time, remember like Horizon for Zero Dawn did that. There's a really cool trophy you only, theme avatar that you only get if you've platinumed the game. So things like that would be cool, and if they can incentivize that through this, sick. Right, so that rather than having to email it out, they can just go, well, these are the people that sign up to Stars are the hardcore of the hardcore. They're the ones that give the most shit, so we'll build shit for that specifically. And it's really easy, like rather than having to email a bunch of, hundreds of people that don't really care, we can channel it, and we can, there's a higher chance of understanding your direct player base, or the ones that you want to not want to cater to, because PlayStation are in the process of stepping outside of their hardcore audience, as we see as their future looks. They're heading into the more games as a service space, so they're wanting to step out of just their known demo. But with this, allows them to still step outside of what they're known for, while also supporting those hardcore kids that live and breathe PlayStation, like me. But look, Cyberpunk still around, Max. Somehow in your Cyberpunk chair, but I still can't believe you were so excited for that game and it pooed right in your face.
Apparently, it's really good now, but I just can't get back into it.
I can't play it.
I got burnt one too many times.
Yeah, it's boat. I just can't do it. Like I said, I'm sure it's great, but I'm sure it's not perfect either. And look, there's DLC coming or something, and the DLC's not even coming to PS4, so they've straight given up on that console, which is cool. But if you want to enjoy Cyberpunk, but in a different way, you totally can. So Cyberpunk's 2077's incredible anime-fueled comeback has broken an impressive milestone. It smashed the same-day concurrent player record of watcher. Wait, is this?
Okay. So
you've lost me.
Basically, what happened is the Cyberpunk anime launched on Netflix.
All right. I'm back.
Because of that, the game has had a resurgence and has broken the same day.
Now that makes more sense, because The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, after the release of the Witcher TV series, did have a massive spike in concurrent players again, and Cyberpunk is in that same boat. In that now, CD Projekt Red announced recently they've sold over 20 million copies of Cyberpunk, which is a fuck ton of copies, and a lot of people got real shafted on that. But then now that everyone's gone and sold their disc copy, they're going to suddenly get more copies again sold, because they're crazy. The industry analyst Benji Sales has also noted the achievement after Cyberpunk 27's concurrent Steam player count sailed north of the Witcher 3's all-time peak of 103,329, and where Cyberpunk hit 104,827. So about 1,000 up over, yeah. So it's cool. But once again, this is only one platform. So I imagine there's been probably a lot higher. So people would jump on their console of choice and jump back in.
I know there's a few people in my friends group who have jumped back on the Cyberpunk bandwagon now that they've seen the anime. They're like, I kind of want to play that game now.
Yeah.
I hear it's fixed.
No! In the chat, dropping my Twitter handle at HaggardMC, HAGGARDMC. Potentially, Betson just saw anime and brain turned off. Very true. 100%. I saw the anime. I'm like, we talking about the TV show? I don't give a fuck about the TV show.
Oh, guess what else is turning off, Ryan?
What?
Surprising no one, Stadia is dead.
Well done. What a segue. What a segue to you.
Yeah. So back in 2019, Google officially announced its new game streaming platform, the Stadia. At the time, Google framed Stadia as the future of gaming, a way to play all kinds of games on demand without ever having to worry about your computer's specifications. Following several years of relative struggle, Google has decided to shut Stadia down on the 18th of January 2023. The company is actually refunding all Stadia purchases up until this point, which includes hardware, software, and DLC. Naturally, this announcement has resulted in people digging up a Stadia tweet from just 2 months ago, which reads, quote, "Stadia is not shutting down. Rest assured, we're always working on bringing more great games to the platform and the Pro," end quote. This was after a string of reports stating that the service was on its way out.
Yeah. So, Australia, Stadia, we hardly knew you. Actually, we didn't know you because you never released here. So maybe that's helped. Maybe that's probably why it's not doing too well. The fact is it didn't release in a bunch of different regions because we don't have the internet infrastructure to support an entirely streaming-based platform.
Also, reportedly, they spent like tens of millions of dollars to have like Red Dead Redemption and Ubisoft titles on the thing. And like it turns out it just wasn't worth the money.
No, not at all.
They just never recouped those costs.
See, but saying that though, this is something we've got to consider as well. The fact that Google are like, hey, we're just going to refund everyone that purchased something. So therefore, this is going on paper, the entire Stadia process is a literal write-off.
Yeah.
Because if they didn't refund people, then they made some money, so it's not a complete loss. But by refunding everyone, they can go. Huh. So this is where Google's at. They can then fork over bajillions of dollars. Correct number there. Bajillions of dollars to cover this and go, hey, we technically made no money. Tax write-off, done. But yeah, the company's so huge it can fund all that. In the chat, the Reverend Puck just jumped in and I picked up a Stadia back on Christmas. Best $10 purchase of a Chromecast Pro forever. Oh, excuse me. Even funnier, Stadia upgraded their interface this week, and it turns out it was announced this week that they turned down a Death Stranding exclusive sequel. So there was a window of time where there was
apparently single player games don't make money.
Yeah, which fuck, I wish that were true, but it totally is. This is the thing. So there was a rumor mill for a while that Kojima was going to do something with Stadia, and everyone's like, why? Ooh, but it made sense to what Death Stranding was wanting to be, all that sort of stuff. So we thought those rumor mills were nothing, and it went quiet. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Boom, there it is. That's why it went quiet. And of course, we know The Quarry, which came out from Supermassive and 2K earlier this year, was originally meant to be a Stadia exclusive as well. So I'm glad they picked up and that put somewhere else. But as far as I know, there wasn't really any Stadia exclusive games.
Didn't they buy a bunch of studios?
Probably. But the one added advantage of this shutdown is no one's losing their job. Everyone that has worked on the Stadia team are now just being repurposed into Google to somewhere else. So that either tells you they didn't give that much of a shit about it. But getting into the console market is a risk. It's a huge risk, and it could only be the big guys that can make it happen. Like Sony just happened to jump into it at the right time. Microsoft have so much money behind them that they can do it and fail, and still have things like Game Pass, which is for all intensive purposes is running at a loss. So they can have that expenditure and not be a problem. Nintendo have such a massive legacy that they'll never leave. But we saw the likes of Sega fall through, Atari fell through, and Atari was one of the pioneers. So like there's companies have come and gone when it comes to console production, and then we've seen people try to jump in with the likes of Ouya, with Google, as we just mentioned with Stadia. Like Amazon was trying to get in there as well, but it's interesting. Like the companies that are choosing to get involved have the capital to cover it, and that's the biggest hurdle for any company that is smaller that may have a bigger passion for it, that might actually be able to deliver a better product. Will likely not get involved in the debate or into the market because they don't have the funding to make it happen. But then you've got likes of Google, which can just write it all off. It's interesting. It never really jumped out at me though, because obviously we couldn't play it here, so that was a big thing for me. But there you go.
Yeah.
All right, Day of the Devs. Day of the Devs has been going for a whole 10 years now. And if you're not aware, it's an event orchestrated by the team over Double Fine Productions and I Am 8-Bit that shines the spotlight on upcoming indie games. The last couple of those have been attached to Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest, but soon it'll be hosting a duo of its own events to celebrate its big anniversary. On the 3rd of November, a Day of the Devs digital showcase will go out across YouTube and Twitch, and this will again put the spotlight on indie titles heading our way. Now, Max, as someone that is a much greater fan of indie games than myself, this is really up your wheelhouse, even so much so that, you know, part of our PAX this weekend, I've lined up some indie dev interviews with you because you're gonna have way more care and things to say than me, and I want to give you a shot. I want to get you come in and do that.
I'm really excited to see what's coming. This is I think we spoke about it last week with I think it was last week that we mentioned about Sony's new initiative and the had the interview with
Shuhei.
Yeah, with Shuhei. I had a blank then.
We just talked about how we're trying to stalk him.
Yeah, this is a really good way to get those smaller indie titles out there and to let people know what is coming. I will definitely be tuning into this.
Well, it'd be very interesting to see if any of the games that we get to spend some time with over PAX weekend, as PAX is a massive PAX indie section, will any of them make the cut. So I still remember meeting with the team at SMG. That's the team behind Death Squared. I remember meeting them, and they were like, "Hey, a Day of the Devs in a couple of months' time, we're going to announce this," and this was moving out. So we got to see some. I got to see some sort of early footage of what the logo was and what the characters were and what the plans were, and sort of how they were wanting to do something like Overcooked, but not quite Overcooked. Then of course, Padge and I were luckily invited to go and do some game test stuff at their head office here in Melbourne. So we might see some things like that sort of make their way over, because as you know, really like prominent games, you know, like and studios like Cherry, Team Cherry that made Hollow Knight, and the guys behind Cult of the Lamb, and you know, all these little Australian standouts are starting to make themselves known worldwide, and an event like this might be able to pick up some of those things and sort of run with them. Like this, one of the studios out of Melbourne, Samurai Punk, like they had a lot of success with the you know, the VR game American Dream, and I know they've got some new stuff coming up that will be at PAX, and I'm sure with their heritage as a great independent studio, we'll likely see that in the space, and maybe some more stuff, but. Excuse me. No, it should be cool. It's very much more of a Max thing, but still very, very cool.
Quick bits. Rumor has it that the next Need for Speed game reveal is close at hand, with Tom Henderson from Insider Gaming stating that the title is set to launch December 2nd this year.
That's a quick turnaround. They better talk about that real soon.
Wild Hearts is the new title coming from EA and Koei Tecmo, similar to Monster Hunter, was announced earlier this week.
Wild Hearts. Run
Man
free.
of
as a Monster Hunter fan, you know, because this is Monster Hunter's your shit. Like, does this do it for you?
It looked interesting. It looked very. I described it as I can't believe it's not Monster Hunter. My worry is it's going to be like pay to win Monster Hunter.
Okay.
Yeah, but I would be happy to be proven wrong.
Nice.
Yeah, it looks cool. Man of Medan and Little Hope have PlayStation 5 versions available to download now. They are free upgrades, although not if you scored Man of Medan through the PlayStation Essential list.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Man of Medan's not that great. Little Hope, but play Little Hope. Little Hope is awesome. The reviews for both of them can be found on this channel.
Lance Reddick, in a now deleted tweet, wrote, quote, "Hard at work in a session for Horizon Forbidden West," end quote. In the accompanying photo, he's sporting a very fashionable mocap suit.
Yeah, so for those who may not know, Lance Reddick is the gentleman that played Cyrus in both Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West. Now, there's been no announced DLC for Forbidden West, but if Lance Reddick's getting all face-dotted, it's quite possible.
And then deleting his tweets after.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh wait, we haven't announced this yet. Oh shit! All right, quick delete."
Just for Ryan, weapons in Dead Island 2 will degrade with use.
Fuck.
Says, quote, Dev says, quote, we're generous with it.
Fuck this game. Everyone knows my firm stance on weapon degradation, how is the shittiest feature in any possible game.
And another one for Betson.
Fuck.
Get ready for some nightmares. A Plague Tale Requiem, which launches this month, has used the PlayStation 5's bulk to render up to 300,000 rats on screen at once.
Fuck. Look, as I've talked about here before, and my crippling fear of rodents, far out, man. Like
The fact that they took over your house for a little while.
yeah, and the fact that they owned my house for a while, and I'd be lying and hear them scuttling, and then I just have like panic attacks. Just hearing them in my roof being all gross.
Imagine 300,000.
On the screen.
They'll look on your TV.
Oh man, like so I should go back and finish Plague Tale Innocence, but I don't want to. But I wouldn't mind seeing that rat NATO at the end of the game, but also knowing that it's going to be horrifying in the same way that when I watched like the Matt Damon movie The Martian, and like because with my gnarly fear of space because it's just forever falling, I had like a gnarly like anxiety attack watching that movie too, and then that's why I haven't watched Gravity because it looks really scary, and because it's just people getting decked in space. But yeah, Plague Tale Requiem looks really cool. I know you're keen for it. I'm probably not
I
going to play
may or
it
may not have it already pre-installed.
because rodents are gross. And also big thank you for Josh Robinson in the chat there saying, look at these handsome fellas. That's us. Anyways, here are the upcoming games that are coming to your PlayStation in a section we call upcoming games. A lot of thought went into that one. Naiad? Naiad? NORAD? No, Naiad. Naiad. N-A-I-A-D coming to PS5 and PS4 October the 1st. So guess what? It's already out. Overwatch 2. Oh, that's fine. Actually releasing. There you go. Overwatch 2.
Yeah. Turns out if you didn't already own Overwatch, it will take you roughly 100 games of play to unlock the standard roster of characters.
Gross. Yeah. Overwatch 2, yeah, PS5, PS4 October the 4th. And Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3. Slime Speedway, PS5, PS4, October 7th. And you should all remember that Paw Patrol Grand Prix came out last week as well. I haven't played it, but I might have to reach out to Square and play it because my son and I have a history of playing Paw Patrol games together.
I got a notification last night saying it's ready to install because it's on Games Pass.
Nice.
And it made me think of you.
Oh, I appreciate that.
And then I proceeded to say no.
Cruel.
Luckily, my kid is not into Paw Patrol. What she is into at the moment, and I'm super stoked about it, she's watching Pokemon.
My son is in love with Pokemon right now, and like I'm trying to reinforce that so like we can watch Pokemon together again.
I may or may not have walked into EB this weekend to pick up some stuff, and Hadley may or may not have walked out with a Squirtle plush toy.
Solid choice. No. Well, this is why I still want to play Arceus because apparently it's mad.
It is. It's real good.
I don't want to pay any money for it though.
Well, good luck.
I was going to steal it from you, but you still got my dock, by the way. So if I pick it up, I'll steal my dock back.
Not only do I have your dock, but I don't have Pokemon Arceus anymore.
Oh, I know. So you can't even pay me back for lending my dock for so long with Arceus. And you still have my aim controller, as I know. You're looking up at it.
I actually am. It's just right there.
Yeah, I know where it lives.
I know where it lives. Yeah, it lives with me now.
Yeah. Anyways, that does bring us to the end of the show. Big thank you for everyone for taking the time to sit with us and listen to us talk utter nonsense. As we say, the greatest thing you could ever do is choose to spend your time with someone. And thank you for choosing to spend this last hour and a bit with us. Max, send us home.
Well, everyone, this PlayStation Conversations happens at 8 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time on podcast services, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and 9 a.m. on those Daylight Saving Time on those YouTubes. Yeah, that's where I was going. Jesus Christ, Sundays, man. But if you would like to join us in future conversations with us, come to PAX next weekend and talk to us in person.
Yeah, come watch us record the show live. Because actually, side note, by the way, I'm gonna put out some feelers and stuff, and like maybe post up some tweets to be like, hey, we're gonna take a bunch of questions and stuff for when we record the show. So that's for Young the Wrestlers and for the players. So keep an eye out for that, especially on Twitter. So follow us at HaggardMC is for me, at BPossessed101 is Max, and of course at pop culturists. Jump on there and you'll be able to see those questions because we want to do a bunch of questions and answers.
Because if you obviously if you can't make it to PAX, check out our socials: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that fun stuff, Discord. In the links in the description below.
If you want to join the conversation as it happens, head over to twitch.tv/thepopcultures, where you can watch us record this show in live, where you can jump in the chat and become part of the show. Now, my understanding is that the pod that we'd be recording on Sunday is also live. So that's exciting too. I'm sure we'll share.
Do I need to write up a doc for that, or are we just gonna fucking freestyle?
No, it's all about PAX, about the things we've done at PAX. So hence the questions and stuff, and just sort of have a big fluff with it. So you might be able to jump in and join that conversation as it happens live on the floor at PAX. And that's from 4 p.m. What's the next part? As it happens. If you want to support the show, you can by telling your friends, telling your family about this PlayStation Pod. If you are listening on podcast servers, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a written review. If you are watching on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment below. I endeavor to answer every single comment. And if you want to support us financially, you can at patreon.com/thepopculturist, as well as our merchandise store, popculture.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. But until next week, at PAX Australia, I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Max Cooper.
And that was For the Players. Can't have time, a little bit excited.